If you've ever looked up your human design chart, may have been curious about what are all those shapes on it? The squares, the triangles, what do they mean? So those are your centers in human design, and everybody has 9 centers on their human design chart. They're loosely based on the chakra system, so they're going to tell you how your energy operates in certain arenas of life, such as your communication or your emotions or your motivation. Our centers show us either where we're here to influence or where we're here to be an empath, depending on if they're colored in or if they're white. Now, most people have a combination of colored in centers and white centers, but there are the rare type in human design, reflectors, 1% of the population, who has all their centers white. Or you could be somebody who has all your centers colored in, and if that's you, unfortunately, this video is not for you, because this video is just about those white centers, which are our open centers. Now, technically, our white centers can either be open or undefined, but just for simplicity's sake, simplicity is my new thing with human design lately, I'm just going to be referring to a white center on your chart as open. Welcome to Human Design with Anna. I am a certified and experienced human design reader, and I love talking to my clients in my human design sessions about their open centers, but it's definitely not the first place I start. I really make sure that my client has an understanding of their type, their strategy, and their authority before I get into their open centers. But there is so much good information in our open centers. They can really show us where we can get pulled off track from our authentic selves, our true selves, but also where we can really shine. So what do our white centers, our open centers in human design show us? They show us 7 important things. Number 1, they show us where we're here to be influenced and impacted by our environment. So they really show us where we absorb energy versus project energy. So for example, if you have an open root center, you can really absorb the stress of the environment you're in, let's say from your workplace. And if you're not aware of this, you can get really pulled off track if you're overwhelmed by stress and not grounded in yourself. You could, for example, make decisions based out of urgency or reactive decisions instead of correct decisions for your life. And you can see how that could really pull you off track. Number 2, our open centers show us where we are meant to be more sensitive and empathic to others. It's funny, most of my clients come to me and tell me that they're highly sensitive or they consider themselves empaths. But what's really interesting and nice about human design is that it normalizes this, because wherever we have an open center, we are meant to be an empath. So for example, if you have an open solar plexus center, you are here to be sensitive to the feelings of those around you. And not only this, but you can amplify those energies. So wherever you have an open center, you're more sensitive to the energies of those around you. You can mistake those energies as your own, and you can amplify those energies. So for example, with the solar plexus center, you might be overly emotional because you're amplifying emotions that aren't yours. Number 3, these open centers show us where we need to have stronger boundaries with others. So other people are not wrong for their emotions or their stress or their fears and anxieties, nor are we wrong for those areas where we are more sensitive to others. However, our open centers do clue us in to where we might need to have better boundaries. I know for me, I have an open spleen center, and the spleen center has to do with health and wellness. So I've had to ask people not to talk about their health issues in detail with me, because I found that I was starting to personalize them, which felt like I was feeling their symptoms as my own. So I really had to set this boundary. Now this boundary hopefully won't be forever, but our open centers can really show us where we might need to have stronger boundaries with others. For example, we might need to leave the room if our partner is overly emotional. Number 4, our open centers show us where our energy is inconsistent. So wherever you have an open center, your energy is not meant to operate consistently in that arena of life. For example, if you have an open sacral center, you're not here to have consistent energy to work. So this applies to reflectors, projectors, and manifestors. They all have an open sacral center. So you are not meant to work. You probably can't hack a 10-hour day and then go to the gym afterwards sustainably, like people who have a defined sacral center. Or let's say you have an open ego center, that's also called the heart center in traditional human design. You might find that you don't have consistent motivation and self-esteem. And it's not something to fix, it's just something more to honor or to observe how your self-esteem and motivation might ebb and flow. You're just not here to have consistent access to that. So our open centers also can show us where we might need to have more self-compassion or be kinder with ourselves. For example, projectors can often beat themselves up for not being able to keep up with the world around them, to be able to hack a 9-to-5 job. So again, our open centers show us where our energy is inconsistent and can be possible places where we need to have more compassion and kindness towards ourselves. Number 5, our open centers show us where we have the potential to be the most wise. So our open centers are not a negative thing. They're not something we need to pathologize about ourselves. These centers can really show us where we have the most potential to be wise in that arena of life, often after we've learned the lessons that we need to learn. For example, not personalizing other people's energy or having better boundaries. So if you have, for example, an open solar plexus center, you have the potential to have high emotional intelligence once you've learned not to absorb, but observe other people's emotions. So this would be an amazing thing for a therapist to have. Or if you have an open ajna center, that's the center for the mind, you are here to be empathic to other people's thoughts, or telepathic, and what an amazing gift that would be. And number 6, our open centers show us clues to our life purpose. So we attract from our open centers, especially those centers that are really activated, that have a lot of gates on them, because those gates can really draw people to us. So we can look to our open centers for clues to our careers. For example, I have a really activated spleen center, open spleen center, which means that a career in health and wellness might be a good track for me. But again, I need to learn that lesson of not personalizing other people's health issues as my own. But I do want to say this one caveat about finding your life purpose. I know that we can get really obsessive about it and look to human design, and look to astrology, look to mediums, look to coaches to tell us what our life purpose is. But I believe at the end of the day, your purpose is between you and your soul, or you and God, or just between you and life, letting life unfold and letting your purpose just reveal itself. From a human design standpoint, the best way to find your life purpose is actually to surrender to following your strategy and your authority in human design. And number 7, our open centers show us where we can market from. So this is not for everybody. I know not everybody has a business, but your open centers can show you good places to market. So for example, if you have an open head center, that's the triangle on the top of your human design chart, you can really sell inspiration and hope. Use your own story to inspire other people. Again, bringing hope and inspiration to others. Or if you have an open ego center, the heart center in traditional human design, you can offer services or products to improve people's lives or to build their self-esteem. In a nutshell, our open centers show us where we can get pulled off track from our authentic selves, where we have lessons to learn, and where we can transform those lessons into our greatest gifts and wisdom to share with the world. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, take good care.